Good evening and welcome to Canada Games Park here in St. Catharines, Ontario, and welcome to the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League playoffs. It is game number 1 of this first round matchup, the 1 seed facing the 8 Athletics, facing the Blaze. My name is Matthew Carrick, in for the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League. All 4 series kicking off tonight. Orangeville in Six Nations, Oakville in Kitchener, Brampton in Whitby coming up this week. We will have games from all 4 of those series for you. There is a look at the Burlington Blaze. They were going to graduate 6 players tonight. They'll be in front of Adam Kruger from the Junior B Newmarket. Got the start in their final game, in which 4 different games had to fall the right way for Burlington to get here. Dan McRae kind of admitting, was hopefully optimistic that this would be a case for this Burlington Blaze team, but maybe that means fate is on their side, that they're here tonight facing the 14-2 St. Catharines Athletics. That's only 16, that's not right. Sorry. Ty Wilson has led them the entire way. He is in net for the Athletics. Good start. And this game starts with movement off the face-off on the side of Burlington. They'll be in their black uniforms, red buckets, going right to left as we set off Dan McRae's visitors bench. Over to the captain, Hayden Hiltz, already with a big blast. Only remaining player from the 2023 Minto Cup winning team. Of course, Minto Cup hosted in these parts by St. Catharines, so they lost a lot of players, but still graduating, I believe, 4, including this man right here. 58 goals in the regular season for Jamison Bucktooth. He'll put it down to Lucas Rozon. Back to the far side, loading up a big shot and spinning away Jaden Kennedy, but there was a moving screen in front. Mark Sands, Mark Smith, and Tyler Rohanek, the 3 officials, as we go back to a 3 officiating crew here for the playoffs. Andrew Scarlett getting it back to Isaiah Paul. He'll slow things down. Looking back to Zachary Toll, the captain of this team, returning for 1 more year next year. From the outside, Meridian to Blake Berard. Cycle through, just bypass Toll. Kennedy gets it again. Little stutter step. Trying to find Berard again late in the shot clock, and everybody's headed to their benches, realizing the inevitable. Here comes Ted Rawson. Dan McRae saying, as much as there's not a lot of experience from that team, guys like Rawson and Sawyer English with the ball now can draw from the experience of their older brothers who were part of that crew and sort of know what that's like to come through the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League playoff gauntlet. Down in the corner, that bypasses Bucktooth. Kruger with it as it's outletted. Couple bounces to Adam Ponting, who will bring it down and wait for the rest of the offense. Switches hands as he does so. Over to the far boards. Ted Rawson sneaking in towards the crease. Hayden Hiltz all the way back to Stone Evans. Shoots around his screen. That one going to bounce off the end boards. Headed back in Jeremiah Wade's direction. Way to trade acquisition, I believe at the deadline. Bounced through a couple teams this season before landing here in Burlington. Toll up and across the line. He'll play it down towards the corner. Already 2.5 minutes gone without incident here in St. Catharines. Blake Berard looking at Toll. He had his first movement thought of and started before bringing that ball down. It will be recovered back by the line by the A's, though, and bounce pass over to Toll. Double blue uniforms, as you would expect, for the A's, down to the crease. And a good move for Lucas Rozon, who opens the scoring here in the playoffs. Little haphazard, trying to get back towards center. But then the play here, keep your eye on the down by the crease, as Rozon's going to break through. St. Catharines electing to put a man back there at the X position And that kind of turned the backs of all of the defenders and opened space for Rozon to cut in and get to the doorstep and open the scoring here in Thorold. Bucktooth one-on-one is a dangerous proposition, but well done by Cooper Joyce to keep Bucktooth in check. Hiltz busting through coverage. He's going to beat a triple team in a twister as he got back to the crease. Captain was about to score. Bucktooth actually losing the overall points lead to Justin Tavares in the last few games of the regular season. 94, the final result for Bucktooth. Back to the crease again. Trent Meridian the shot. Bucktooth trying to shovel it back to Kruger. He'll make both saves. Took a little bit for Kruger to get settled in that game you saw right here on the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel. Between the Buzz and the Blaze. Far side, shrug of the shoulder. Wilson will keep it out. Bypasses Ari Steinhaus. Coming off his first pro season with San Diego. Wants to load up. Off the shoulder there of Kruger and back out. And for Dan McRae, he's just said getting used to, for Kruger, the speed of Junior A, maybe a little bit of nerves. Getting used to the defense in front of him was much better in the third period of that game against Oakville. Cutback move, Nate Watson. One of the statistical leaders for this Blaze offense. Crashed into a check there, and you can hear the energy off the bench of Dan Coates. Told me that's a key for this St. Catharines team. Setting the tone early, not just for this game, but for the three and perhaps more that will follow. Zachary Toll pulling it out of the corner. Playing it back up top. A whistle here, and I believe Isaiah Paul ran through the crease. So the turnover will go back the other way. 5 minutes gone in the first. 1-0 Athletics. Off the stick of Lucas Rozon. Stone Evans over the top, back outside to Hiltz. Hiltz, a little flip pass. Hard hit there. Xavier Peters stepping up on the ball carrier. That forces the shot down here into the corner. Grabbed by Patrick O'Farrell. He'll cross center, back for Bucktooth again. Jamison Bucktooth waiting. Had Paul headed to the crease, and it's called on the reset as Bucktooth picks it up. He'll leave it there in the corner. Now Burlington's turn for the loose ball. Aiden Carr, one of those 6 graduating seniors for this Burlington team. Trent Meridian up to center. Paul. Steinhaus. Ari giving back to Berard. Hit the end glass, and then that's a nice recovery save down with the big stick of Kruger. Mateo Baudouin will back him up tonight. The normal 2 for Burlington. Throw in a trade deadline where the sent Tyden Redlick to Six Nations. And they were looking for goaltending. Found it perhaps in Kruger, who kicks the left leg out against Levi Roast. Swarming check here. Ball gonna pop free. Away from Jaden Kennedy, who gets up with a little bit of a limp. Going back to chase it down, though, is Rozon. And every time the ball is touched almost by someone in a blue jersey, the sticks come out on the bench to our left. Hard shot, Arrow Booth. Joined this team at the deadline last year. Told, postures up against Evans, trying to force the 8-second count. Only 8 steamboats to get across the center line. Once you do, can't cross back. As now Bucktooth continues to press. It's finally down in the attacking zone, but only 10 to work with for Evans. Back out in front. A little hit there. A push Adam Ponting wide. He was Trying to bring it, settle it down for a shot. Couldn't do so. We've got a player through the crease for the Blaze. Ball will be the other way. You know it's playoff time. You can tell when the intensity and ferocity for those loose balls picks up, as it's done so in this opening 8 minutes. All the way outside and around Blake Berard. Here for Isaiah Paul. Shot comes from Kennedy. Off of Kruger and up into the screening. It'll be Berard. Back to the corner. Floating through. Kennedy trying to turn that into a pick and roll along with Toll. Picked up and out by Hiltz. Hayden Hiltz running transition twist shot, and it's Ty Wilson's turn to deny a breakaway. Booth across center on the run. Brings it down, being spied by Carter Reynolds. Now Bucktooth headed back to the corner. Rozon, the lone goal scorer so far. Bouncing around, little shove from Bucktooth. Knocked his man down with no call. Pass cross floor, intercepted nearly clean by Nathan Jones, and if he does, he might be off to the races. Hidden ball play between him and Wade. Jones kept it, but played over to the far side. Tipped off the stick of Nate Laycock. Last year played at all 4 levels above Junior C. Owen Sound North Stars, both B and Senior B. And then a few A games as well. Being called up to Burlington on I believe, a full A card this year. Another save from Kruger. Blue sneakers with the red jersey for Nathan Jones. Stepping into a hard shot. Also one of those 6 graduating players. Colin Marr, by the way, not far behind Laycock. I believe just needs to get into a Senior B game somewhere this year, as he's call up from Hamilton, dressed for the Brampton Excelsiors in Major Series a few times this year. Little give and go between Booth and Toll. Bounce back down, and Burlington going to pick up on a 2-on-1 with a defender hopping off the bench. Shot went wide, right to Roast, who's coming off his bench. Wanted to force it to Bucktooth. He was facing 2, then 3 defenders. Comes all the way back towards center line. Quickly through Berard to Isaiah Paul. Nearly jumping the route there was Lucas Fraser. He'll chase Bucktooth into the far side where he got knocked down. Trent Meridian saves the possession. Trying to pass that behind the net. Nearly hit Hiltz in the face mask. Now Sawyer English was by himself. Adam Ponting up as well. I think Burlington bench saying that St. Catharines jumped early. Going to be no call. We've passed the halfway mark already of this first period. English to the far side. Little stutter step. Now shoved out. Ted Rosin. As he'll come to the far outside. Ponting had to let that shot fly as they were late in the clock. 10-8 shots on goal favoring St. Catharines through the first half of this period. They lead 1-0. The goal from Lucas Rozon. High stepping in the corner. Rozon wants another one. Sidearm shot. Kruger will direct that off to his right towards the corner. Has looked solid in his opening 11 and a half minutes here. Much better than we saw him at the track when we saw all 4 goaltenders that day. Final game of the Rob McDougall Memorial Cup. Bouncing back out for Ponting. Couple shots there, a few of them wide, and then Wilson did make the save. Jack Wynarski, deadline acquisition for the Toronto Beaches for this athletics team, who have eyes on a deep run here. No, Dan Coates admitting, you know, it may be 1v8, but as soon as you turn the calendar to the playoffs, brand new season, can't rest on anything. And another interception. Lucas Fraser going to take it to the crease himself. Steps back. What a save from Ty Wilson. Good job done by Burlington player as well. Fraser in transition, and Wilson calls for a hydration break here with 7:36 to go in our first period. Lucas Rozon scoring just about 3 minutes into this period. As here's another look at the transition play from Fraser. Does well to pull back here, and the reaction saved. There was space, it looks like, underneath that left armpit of Wilson. Well, until there wasn't, I guess, because save was made. You're out of town scoreboard, as we said, all 4 series kicking off tonight. Orangeville leading 2-1 in Six Nations. Oakville leading 3-1 in Kitchener, and Brampton leading 2-0 in Whitby. Now 3-0. Brampton over Whitby. We'll have game 4 of that series coming up Friday. Game 2 tomorrow, Oakville Kitchener at the track. And game 3 Wednesday, ILA is your schedule for the week. Be sure you're subscribed right here. Jameson Bucktooth missed it in the corner late in the shot clock. Fraser goes after him. Bucktooth still manages to beat it, but then it disappears into the left pad there of Kruger. So whistle goes anyways. Brought in on the far side by Ross and tripped up. I would call that a crease dive, but it's I guess a fan dive as he's out by the dotted line. Ponting has gone back and forth down the floor. Now he'll head off along with Reef Steenhouse. Little stutter step to the cage for Kennedy. Just missed it. You can see the speed of this Burlington team. Dan McCray called younger, but that's kind of been the story of the league all year. Many teams losing multiple players last season. Stone Evans through the middle to Laycock. Shot comes from the left side. Big collision in behind the play. Evans knocked Laycock into his man. No call, but a big return chop from Warnarski, who got knocked down at the bottom of the pile. That stopped the breakout from St. Catharines. Surprised there was no, at the very least, minor interference call there. Here's Nate Watson. Through Rawson, through the legs of Ponting. Wilson stood his ground to make the stop. It'll be recovered for a fresh 30. Ted Rawson. Back to the outside. Watson through Evans. On the run, Laycock. Watson has it again. Had eyes for the net. Hit off the glass instead. Ponting picks up on the run. Hits his own man in the backside. Now Laycock dealing with a double team. This has been an aggressive defensive stand from Jared Cook of St. Catharines, who went hard after Laycock immediately when they got to the bench. And Dan Coates still lamenting that non-interference call. Final 5 minutes here in period number 1. Athletics still leading 1-0 despite the shots. Now even 13-all. And that'll be called a moving screen, and that's not going to sit well with St. Catharines' bench. As referee Rayonic runs past Ian Lord. I wouldn't want to upset that man. Here is Colin Marr. Talked about him earlier on. Number of moves off the crossbar. Recovered puck. Save. Even though he looked like he was down and out for Wilson. Picked up again by Marr. And this time, Wilson will swing the left arm out. It was this time last year. The story of Ty Wilson started to be written. It was an early exit for St. Catharines last year, even though they did host and play in the Minto Cup. But Ty Wilson really stealing the starting job away from graduating Oliver Vanyo. Bucktooth on the crease, a nifty move. Kruger just nice and calmly makes the save. Impressive first period. Here's Watson running through. His shot just wide. Wes Grant chases it towards the corner. Got tied up there by Kennedy. Ball picked up. Sutter Pilon across center. Paul waits for Toll. Zachary Toll, far side, Meridian high step. Comes back in the direction of Rozon. He gets taken to the board. Same story for Paul, who then got knocked down. Rozon picks it up. Only 5 to go in his shot clock, who goes back after the ball. May have taken a high shot, went down, and then big tie-up between him and Lucas Fraser. Fraser kind of checking the jaw, chin area as he went back to the bench. Be outside, cutting to the crease. And Ted Rawson had to duck under a low bridge there, and he's slow to get up in the crease of Wilson. He had to chase it down. That brings the shot clock down under 10. Behind the back, nice pick up there in the shot. Meridian hits off the crossbar, and that is bouncing up the stairs here at Canada Games Park. Meridian with a fresh 30 seconds, and check forcing that one high and into the safety netting. Closing in on the 2-minute warning here in St. Catharines. Adam Ponting back towards the corner. Evans then missed Laycock, who was all alone momentarily on the crease. Burlington couldn't get it to him. Evans, long outside shot, back towards center. Jeremiah Wade was going for the change, actually worked as a safety valve there to keep it onside, but then could only dump it away with the shot clock expiring. Kennedy, high-stepping Arrow Booth. Toll sets a screen in front of him. Paul will crash into the set as it comes back Booth's way. Couple screens set high. That allowed the shot to come through, but also allowed Kruger to see it. And again, he'll kick it out towards his right. Isaiah Paul there to grab it. And now Arrow Booth will do his best to slow it down again. Rozon. Toll pops out of the pile. Paul, his shot off Kruger. Another 30 seconds for Kennedy. And Rozon just took a shot in the chin. Official thought about it for a sec, but there's 2 of them with their arms high, which is always a good sign that you've done something wrong. Here's Toll. And Rozon bouncing the pass back and forth. Back behind the net. Intended there for Paul. Bucktooth in there as well. And now a third official puts his arm high as they're all in there. A scrum off to the left of Kruger. You can see all of that was with Ty Wilson on the bench for St. Catharines. Down under a minute. And we'll see how this plays out floor strength-wise. There is the high hit right in the middle. Penalty to Hayden Hiltz for an illegal cross-check to start. And then one to Isaiah Paul to even it up. So our first penalties of the night end up consequential. Coincidental, pardon me. And means we're 4-on-4 for the final 40 seconds here of this first period. Watson over to Rawson. He's tap dancing around. Watson got smothered, actually hit off of Tayoni Galante. As he came back towards the net. Here comes Steinhaus. Steinhaus had to tap dance the crease. Heard a few yells for him in the blue turf, and Bucktooth a little upset he didn't get that ball, but now it'll be a timeout, and I'm sure he'll be in the plans for Dan Coates and this athletics offense. Ty Wilson comes all the way down the bench to fist bump Bucktooth there. 94 points and 56 goals in the regular season. Nothing on the board yet for number 44. Who you see there on the right of the huddle. And I'm sure just a matter of time. Way too good to be kept off. To remind you of our out-of-town scores. Still all the road teams, although in that Brampton game, Whitby scored back-to-back. Oakville still up 4-2 on Kitchener. We will have game 2 of that from the track tomorrow night, 8 p.m. start time. Visit OntarioJuniorLacrosse.com for the entire playoff schedule, and be sure to subscribe. Here is Jamison Bucktooth, yes, of the Colorado Mammoth. He's going to cut towards the crease. Up for Toll, looks at the clock. There's only 5 seconds left. Needs to make a decision. Elects to shoot. And another stop from Kruger. He makes 16 in the first period. But the one that beat him was off the stick of Lucas Rozon. The only damage for either side there. It is a 14 save performance for Ty Wilson and the Athletics defense here in the first period of game number 1 of this opening round matchup in the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League playoffs. Again, visit OntarioJuniorLacrosseLeague.com for all the scores and the schedules from all 4 rounds. I want to remind you that we're at the track tomorrow. Game 3 between Orangeville Six Nations is at the ILA on Wednesday, which is where we'll be. And then Friday night in Whitby, game number 4 between Brampton and Whitby right here. Be sure you're subscribed so you won't miss a minute of the action, including the second period from here in St. Catharines, which comes your way in 9 minutes. You are watching the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League playoffs. The Athletics making their way back onto the floor to the cowbells and the welcome of Rod Mahood. We welcome you back here to Canada Games Park as well. Just one goal to speak of, but there was some fairly good defense and goaltending on both sides. There's a look at probably the best one from Ty Wilson with Lucas Fraser right in his face. Keep your eye down on the crease. Man behind the net takes the defender down, and that's going to open up space for Lucas Rozon to get the only goal of that first period. One goal off 17 shots for St. Catharines, nothing off 14. And yes, it's playoff time. There's going to be some physical play and more good goaltending from Ty Wilson, his coming out party this time last year. Here's the out-of-town scoreboard. Still 2-1 Orangeville, Six Nations. That is about as historic a rivalry as you'll get here in Ontario Lacrosse. Brampton still up 3-2 over Whitby by way of that 3-0 start. And goodness gracious, Oakville Kitchener 7-2. The Kodiaks basically going all in this year. And it is a best of 7 first round, but Justin Tavares 5 points, 2 and 3. Charlie Boone 5 points in that game as well. The only goal scorers, Julian Belair, Max Frateroli, as you would probably guess, Matthias Houlihan getting the start there. Along with, as you would guess as well, Zach Konstantopoulos. Do kind of wonder about him. Heading down the stretch here, I believe a Ontario school. As we crouch in for the face-off here, and if Zach Konstantopoulos has a good playoff run, wonder if his name doesn't appear in the draft in September. Reaching for the ball, Jack Wojnarski as he was down in his face. We remain 4-on-4 for the next minute. Hayden Hiltz, Isaiah Paul, that little scramble down along the boards. And thought a lot more than that was let go in the first period, but officials get a chance to talk things over at the break as well. It is St. Catharines going right to left this period. And from the outside, the shot there from Ted Rawson. Putting Burlington on the board here, has done a fair amount of that over the last few seasons in Burlington red and black. Just over the seal of Watson, took 2 defenders with him, and then a sidestep and a shot that I think Wilson would probably want to have back. Sawyer English, Nate Watson picking up assists. Sutter Pilon carrying this down into the corner. Cooper Joyce in to collide with him. Ball's going to roll back out Burlington's way. That will tie things up here in the opening minute of this second period. Burlington trying to go again. Off the window, playing right back and straight to the net was Jeremiah Wade. Nice recovery save there from Wilson. Over the top, Adam Ponting. Shot there. Wilson has it exit his crease. Picked up. Ponting lost the glove in the exchange. Quick transition period. As Toll demonstrated there, he's going to pick up fresh rug burn as he went down and hobbling off as a result. Pass too high for Rawson. Nearly brought down by Watson. Levi Roast in and out of the stick a few times. Would be apt if he takes off here, the Sunday Roast. Out through the middle. Here is Bucktooth. Held pointless in that period. Can't say that very often this season. Outside shot, Booth. Landed there in the crease of Kruger. Look out, man on here for Burlington. As Aiden Carr spins over the timeline. Ponting back with it. Has both gloves back and affixed again. Colin Marr trying to bust through the middle. Picks up his own rebound. Twist shot. Wilson with the save in the crease. As it's picked up here, St. Catharines rainbowing it over the top. Finds a man off the bench. Pardon me, that was Isaiah Paul. Now Rosen back to Kennedy. Rosen. Around Paul, who got knocked down. Recovered just in time to pick up the ball as it bounced off a defender. Through the middle, Kennedy twist shot. Looking down low on Kruger, and he'll stop it there against the left leg. Are we witnessing another emergence of a young goaltender here in the OJLL playoffs, perhaps? Sidearm shot off the end boards. Sawyer English took that one. Already off the bench. One defender coming in and jumping, Patrick O'Farrell. Got a good shot off Kruger. Arrow Booth recovers it in the corner, puts it over top of the set, and into the sure hands of Ari Steenhuis. Entered the draft early last year. Still has a season of Junior A remaining, if I'm not mistaken. Older brother Ty will be in this draft as it comes back for Trent Meridian. Through for Booth, picks up. Had Berard on the crease, elected to take it himself. Both options were good ones, but end result maybe not what he intended there as it rolls back through. Shot clock did go there on St. Catharines. Burlington's Rossing to Ponting far side. Mars sets the screen. Coming back to Jeremiah Wade. Over the top on the run. Shot there. Wilson had it scoot out of his crease. There was like a swing into the back of Reef Steenhuis. Punch that connected, and the officials either didn't see it or elect to let it go. We are up to 3 officials here in the playoffs after going 2 all season. Little pick and roll in there between Bucktooth and Paul. Bucktooth now tied up. He's going to carry his man down to the ground in Cooper Joyce, and they'll have a conversation after the fact. Letting them play here in the playoffs. My goodness. Ponting to the corner. Around the screen. Maybe a high hit there on Carr. Fought through it. Ball picked up. Here comes Steenhuis. Straight down Main Street. Shot. Kruger the save. Rebound back out in front. And called on a push. Here it's going to be St. Catharines' ball. I think they thought it was going to be the crease violation against Tyone Galante. As Dan Coates comes all the way down the bench for helmet taps for his defensive crew. Steenhuis slams his stick in disgust. Here's Bucktooth. Straight through the middle to the crease. And Rosen kept his feet clean and clear, but then got denied by Kruger. Here's Burlington back the other way. Jared Cook into Warnarski. On his wrong side, Meridian coming off the bench, followed by Bucktooth. Now Toll and the rest of the offense. Zachary Toll was momentarily by himself as they completed the change. Toll gets it to bounce through Kruger. Zach Toll, the captain of the Athletics, restoring their lead. Him and Bucktooth did most of the damage for this Athletics team this year. And he's actually going to look off Meridian, who looked like he was open. Here's the play previously with Bucktooth. Trying to find Rosen, and that's just a great save from Kruger as Rosen was stayed out of the crease. And Toll's got his first of the playoffs. Second assist for Meridian. Wojnarski picking up one as well. Here's Booth behind the back into the cutting Kennedy. And it's back-to-back goals for the Athletics. This is pretty stuff here from Arrow Booth, who kind of gets forgotten a little bit in this St. Catharines offense. Over on the right side. Whoop, watch the pass there. Gorgeous. After the screen from Kennedy, turns it into a pick and roll. And if you're going to wear shoes that color, you better have a big night. Now 3-1 Goals coming 23 seconds apart after we went most of this game without too much offense. Can the A's keep it rolling? Stainhouse across. Toll posturing up. Did shoot through traffic. That got through to Kruger. Looked like officials signaled reset in the corner. It didn't. Now it'll be a moot point as Bucktooth makes sure it connects. Back to Toll. In front. Roson scores again. This ball bounces just too many times for Burlington after the initial shot on what probably should have been a reset initially. And what's funny is if they get the reset, they probably settle it down. Bucktooth down low. All those faces are turned to the corner. Everyone forgets about 22, who's going to pot it into the back of the net. And that'll be the first point of these playoffs for Jamison Bucktooth. Zachary Toll getting his third. So 14-13, then 13-50 and 13-17. 3 goals in a span of 1 minute and 4 seconds here for the Athletics. We go back to the first one. Little squeaker that gets through Adam Kruger. Not much he can do here on the beautifully executed pick and roll, and then follow the bouncing ball between Bucktooth, Toll, and Roson, and into the back of the net. All of a sudden, 4-1 here. Water break for the goaltenders, which perhaps Kruger going to use as a chance to settle things down here. Offense can help him out with an extended possession down the other way. Can help him out even more if they find the back of the net somehow. Ted Rawson around to screen. Picked up by Watson. He'll put it far side Ponte. Evans there to set the screen. They'll come all the way back Rawson's way. Had the corner. Taken away by Wilson. Nate Watson ran through the crease. Couldn't pick it up. And that's going to allow a clean look for, I believe that was Meridian up on defense. Pardon me, Warnarski. Now Bucktooth in the corner. Do they keep the run going? Bucktooth tried to shoot on the run, probably sensing that they've got Kruger here. Late penalty on a cross check down in the crease. And after letting a bunch go, they're going to call a cross check here. Admittedly didn't see it. It was back in the crease. And it is going to be the first power play of the game coming up to the Athletics. Keep your eye on the crease here. After this ball comes up and out, in front of the officials, straight up into the face mask. And another goal here could be very dangerous for Burlington should it go in on this power play. Up top, Toll. Bucktooth ran through the crease, couldn't play it. Then I think noticed that 3 Blaze players were about to take off, so was going to intercept and get the stoppage and whistle. That is a great play. And then coming off the bench, Stainhouse. Hard into the back of Rawson, who immediately bounces back up. Stainhouse had Rawson in his crosshairs, man. Blaze trying to kill off the first man advantage of the game. And in the corner, dancing around. Colin Marr crashes in with Sutter Pilon. Pilon will scoop it away from the scene, wait for the shot clock, and then pick up. Already his teammates headed off. It's Ian Lord throwing fist bumps this time, although does want to have a brief conversation to the penalty-killing defenders who came off there. Back to Roson. Number of fakes as he came through the crease. Ate a chop in the back for his measure. Booth from the corner. Now Bucktooth to Toll. Number of fakes. And at the top of the set, look out here. His knockdown was Lucas Frazier. Got up with fire in his eyes. Went right back after Roson. And are both of them going off here? Officials are going to take both. Initial penalty for a cross-check. Dan McRae wants a 5. Keep your eyes on the left side of your screen. So saw the initial one kind of just above the hip there, which, you know, last year was a topic of conversation and I forget what they call it, impact call maybe for the officials. As there's been all kinds of this rough stuff happening, and the biggest one, I said Ari Stainhouse, that's his younger brother Reef stepping up to lay the body on Rawson. So now the power play working, but they've got Rozon and his 2 goals off the floor here for approximately 2 minutes. Could be more as they have to wait for the dead ball. Cooper Joyce comes back on, and first power play of the game expires without incident. Athletics lead 4-1 off 28 shots to 20. 3 goals in a span of just over a minute. Ponting from the outside, looking for the answer. Just after his teammates killed off the penalty. Bouncing back up top, ends up going over the head of Carter Reynolds, who had just taken the floor. Restarts just in front of the Athletics bench. Paul through Toll. Toll all the way by himself, shot there off Kruger. Little stumble before the afterburners got turned on for Sawyer English. English in transition, as that family is wont to do. Younger brother of Sam, Ty, and Brooks. The eldest 2, the property of the Toronto Rock. Brooks' fate remains to be determined. He'll find out in September. Low shot here, skipped by Toll. Sawyer won't enter the draft until 2029. Down into the corner. Zachary Toll pulls it down, pick and roll there with Kennedy. He'll flip it back up top. Berard send it off the backboards, and Kruger felt it come back and was going to stand as long as it took so it didn't accidentally roll back into the net. Past the halfway mark now of this second period. Athletics already up to 30 shots. Outside Rawson. He'll give it to Stone Evans. Over the top. Shoots on the run. Down to meet it. Wilson. Reef Steenhouse picks it up. Sutter Pilon now. Will cross center. Bucktooth to Toll. Trailing. Nifty little play and rang it off the pipe. Comes all the way back quickly. Carr to Ponting to Watson. Full splits from Wilson to make the save. The long bomb pass from Tyone Galante. Intercepted by Ponting. Maybe the tallest player out there. Sawyer English sets the screen off the shoulder of Wilson. Went up over top of the net. Picked up here by Laycock though. Got a tie up in behind the net, so effectively 4-on-4. Now those two will rejoin the fray. Working its way through Jeremiah Wade. English runs through the pile. Watson with it now, drags it back in, shoots. Wilson was looking over his right shoulder, but had it stalled there on the right pad. 7.5 remaining in this second period. Down the boards to Kennedy. Rozon still in the penalty box, waiting for the dead ball. Far side, Bucktooth. Here to Meridian. Big jab step. He's headed behind the net. Played up top. Bucktooth rips straight down Main Street. And again, Kruger makes the catch on that left leg. That water break seems to indeed have given him the little breath and reset that he needed after that outburst. Here's Rawson trying to get one back. Just lost the ball as he came through the crease. I thought he had ran through, but seems to have stayed clear because he's allowed to touch the ball. As it's played all the way up top. Stone Evans with a head of steam. Running downhill, twister. Picked up out of the crease. Laycock going to land in there following his shot. And the Wilson save. Ari Stainhouse giving it to his captain. Toll looking for his superstar on the far side. Bucktooth. Thought about passing. Going to take it himself. Lost it in the collision there. Along with, I believe that's Hayden Hiltz. Turns and takes off. Nate Watson. Too many. Oh no, unsportsmanlike. Coming on the bench. The last time up, we heard somebody say that's enough. And I guess that was the warning to Burlington's bench, who kept the conversation going. I thought it was going to be too many. Ty Wilson's come out of his net to grab a drink. I think Kruger's going to do the same. And Dan McCray wants to know who said what to trigger this unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Here's a look at Max Kruger. Junior B call up from Newmarket on the biggest stage at the biggest time of the year. Called into that game for Oakville that they, I think, even would admit thought was a throwaway against Oakville. 15-11 that score as they captured the Rob McDougall Cup. Here's your out-of-town scores. Whitby has come back to tie Brampton, Six Nations to tie Orangeville, and Oakville continues to run away. Getting word that Whitby has just scored to take their first lead of that game. And that one has gone back and forth. You can download the OJLL app to stay up to date in real time if you can hold 4 devices at once. Arrow Booth from the outside will go up to Toll. Second power play of the game here for St. Catharines. Toll will back away from the screen. Shot there, Kruger makes the save and it drops down in his crease. Played out far side by Burlington. Off the bench, Rawson. Part of the hands team here with English, Ponting, and Watson down in the corner. Watson back across to Ponting. Burlington spreading the floor. Shot clock down to 5. Play is on for Sawyer English. Ponting let the shot clock go. And went for the eagle on the par 3. Here's Toll. Little fake flip there for Meridian. As him and Bucktooth keep it high right now. Toll, as Meridian went straight down to set the screen. Toll followed it with a shot that went wide over the shoulder from Bucktooth to Toll. Return pass went off the window, and now Booth is back dealing with Lucas Fraser in transition, scores. Short-handed goal, maybe what Burlington needed here in the game. And it comes from Lucas Fraser, who was great in our last broadcast. Part of that win we were talking about earlier. See him from the outside, last-ditch effort from Booth, trying to dive at him to get anything on either the player or the shot. As Fraser, the graduating senior, scores here short-handed. Under 5 to play in this period. Still 35 seconds remaining on the power play. Reef Stainhouse with it now. Bucktooth has it just outside. Booth. Down into the corner. Rozon is there. Keep your eye on him. Hat-trick watch in effect for number 22. It's 44 Bucktooth that wants it. And another shot that goes wide. And it's going to turn transition for Burlington again. Off the board. Picked up this time. It's Wilson. The left arm coming out to make a big stop at the tail end of the power play. So St. Catharines 0 for 2 with the man advantage here and give up the shorthanded goal. 4-2 in the final 4 minutes. Toll to Bucktooth. To Zachary Toll. Back to Jamison Bucktooth. He'll pull it down. Ball bounces through the crease. Back to Toll. On the doorstep, Kennedy. Momentum took him into the goaltender. Kruger shoved him out. No response from the Blaze. They're headed down floor and just missed Rawson with an outlet pass. He runs through the crease. Andrew Scarlett was in the vicinity. He'll pick it up and down the boards through Galante. Now Bucktooth. Still just the one assist for Jamison Bucktooth, and Arrow Booth going to take off running. Kruger made the save, but just saying you kind of wonder when Bucktooth is going to pot one and get hot here, as he's been all season long, basically 2 seasons in a row. Jamison Bucktooth passes behind the net to Toll. Not sure how he missed, unless Kruger got some of his stick on that. End result is it stays out. My goodness, as close as that for St. Catharines. Far side, Ponting. Pass from Evans, who goes to set the screen. Ponting through 2 defenders. Gonna knock Wilson backwards with a shot, but did make that save. Pulled out here, Wojnarski. He'll carry it over the center line. Back down the boards. Berard. Rainbows it over the top to Kennedy, who just come off the bench. Now Booth has it. Arrow Booth fights through a couple checks. Booth to the far side, hard pass intended for Kennedy, missed. Berard has to go chase it, and his shot will crank off the boards. Just the crispness and the connections haven't been there for St. Catharines. It's turned into transition a couple times for Burlington. And will that be a point of conversation and emphasis in the locker room of Dan Coates here in a minute and a half? Ponting shot hits off the lead defender. Trying to catch up to it is Levi Roast. He'll wait just inside the restraining line. Through Xavier Peters and into the corner. Little jab step, Toll. Back to the crease. Rozon had worked his way through again. Little quick shot that Kruger makes the save on. Still trying to find it. Shot number 36. Which is 7 more than the Blaze. 2 extra goals. On the side of St. Catharines. Your outside rip. That hits Wilson up high, and he's shaking the mask out. I think he doesn't want the play to stop. It's going to be a dunk try from Burlington. But he is definitely not feeling 100%. Checking the mask now as Ari Steenhouse runs down with it. Kennedy on the near side. Couldn't just tuck it through. Kennedy had gone through the crease. That one either hit Kruger or the crossbar. St. Catharines took time out in the first period. Aren't going to want to waste another one here. As Rozon has it in the corner. Bucktooth screening 2 defenders, and a weak shot hits in off Kruger with 22 to go. Dan McRae, as you would expect, burning his second time out, and now we turn our attention to Ty Wilson, who is going to make his way to the bench for water here after this shot that hit him high. We heard in real time that distinctive clank, and I think off the throat guard and off the shoulder.
Game number 3 in this best of 7 opening round playoff
and still kind of shaking out that left arm, but didn't say anything to the official, not saying anything to the bench. Owen Bartley off the bench to go talk to his netminder. Kind of showed him what happened. Here's the out-of-town scoreboard as Whitby. Wow, 3 straight for Whitby. Actually, more than that, I believe, as they have come back against Brampton. Oakville still leading Kitchener. Let's see. As this would be set up for next shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight from 5 different goal scorers. 4 different goal scorers, pardon me. Bryson Lamoureux with a pair. Max Weatherup has been in on all of those, and Cam Monders has just added one more. 9-5 Brampton, or Whitby on top of Brampton, as we're back underway here for the final 20 seconds of the second period. 4-2 Athletics will look a lot better going to the room with a 1-goal disadvantage for Burlington, who have Kruger on the bench. Here comes the last second play. Jeremiah Wade putting it through there to Rawson, blown up by Galante, and then the pass off the stick of Wade and up out of play. Nothing doing for the Blaze on the final shot there. And a 3-goal outburst in just over a minute leads the Athletics to a 4-2 lead here after 2 periods. 4 goals off 38 shots. 2 off 20 for the Blades. They get 2 off 16 here in the period. And how about 21 for the Athletics there in period number 2. You're watching the first game of the first round between Burlington and St. Catharines from here at Canada Games Park. It is the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League playoffs, and we'll be back in 9 minutes for the third. You can see the Athletics getting back onto the floor here on their home turf at Canada Games Park. And they lead 4-2 after 2. Here's Ted Rawson getting a bouncer through Wilson early on in that period, but then here is the big difference in the game so far. Outside shot from Toll, gets through Kruger, and again, Junior B goaltender. A little bit of a soft one that he probably wants back. Nothing he can do there against the pick and roll with Kennedy, and then I don't think there's anything he can do here against this either. The ball moves just too much and too fast between Lucas Rosen, Jameson Bucktooth, Zachary Toll. In the end, 3 goals in a minute and 4 seconds. 1 transition marker shorthanded for Lucas Frazier to get it back and sit us at 4-2 after 2 in favor of the home side Athletics. This is game number 1 of their playoff series. They'll get a day off tomorrow before going Tuesday in the oven in Burlington, Wednesday back here at St. Catharines, and then Friday in Burlington is scheduled for game number 4 for the entire schedule. From this and the rest of the playoff series, visit OntarioJuniorLacrosse.com. Officials come out and talk to both benches. Here they're kind of pointing down the wall. I'm not sure if there's perhaps a shot clock issue. We'll wait and see. It is 4 goals off 38 shots, 2 off 30, 3 off 21 in that period, in that run for the Athletics, who moved early off the opening draw. And remember, it was a first minute shot that scored for the Blaze to tie. Coming out of the locker rooms after the first, Stone Evans trying to replicate that. He does. Stone Evans, whatever's on the snack table, double it up for next game. Because this team has responded now in back-to-back periods in the opening minute. Stone Evans picking the corner on the run. Ponting and Rawson picking up assists. First point of the game for Ponting, as there is a hefty stick battle off to the right of the draw involving Berard and Wes Grant. Eventually going to be won by Hayden Hiltz and the Blaze. Hiltz with it. Back to Marr. He gets shoved out of the pile. Outside, rip is through everything. Jeremiah Wade tying the game. Talked about the big run from the Athletics. Is there one coming here for Burlington? Back-to-back goals exactly 30 seconds apart. From the outside here from Wade. And Ponting will set that one up too, along with Colin Marr. The multi-league star. Ball down, Hiltz couldn't grab it. He will after Paul got upended. Kennedy running back in his direction. It's Blaze that have it again. Laycock to Hiltz. Rawson crashes in front of him. Ponting wants it. Out to the outside. Little high step from Sawyer English. Played back Rawson's way. Little screen as he got through. Hiltz had room to shoot. Quickly closed off, however, by Patrick O'Farrell. He'll chase it back towards the corner. And the shot clock sounds against Burlington. And again, you can hear the sticks out on the bench of the Athletics. Haven't really heard that same energy from the first period that they came out with, and that was a key for Dan Coates. He said brand new season. Now that we're in the playoffs, how about brand new game here in the third? Toll trying to find Bucktooth across on the crease. Just missed. Kruger will pull it back. all tied up. Both shots here in the period for Burlington have found the back of the net. Colin Marr. Little high pass. Ponting easily brings it down though. He'll get a screen in front of him from Marr. Back far side. Brought down on the run. Watson wanted the shot the entire way. Both Wilson and the official ducked out of the way, and the shot clock will sound against Burlington as they couldn't get one on net. A couple years ago, it was these two teams in the first round. 2024. Athletics winning that matchup as Kennedy's got it down in the corner. Booth sets the screen. Can't pull back out far enough away from English to get a return pass. It comes in front of Burlington's bench. Only 5 left to shoot. Paul towards the crease. Booth was all tied up with Luke Cleland, and it will go the Blaze way. Evans got the first of those 2 quick goals. In a matter of 30 seconds, this game flipped on its head. Back for Ponting now. He'll be on the outside. Came all the way outside the restraining line, now brought down. After scoring 27 seconds into the first period, about 19 and 49 here in this one. Getting it through Meridian. Points back at the setup man. Just a little rub screen here, going to break him open as Zachary Toll will get his 4th point on the assist. Watch him just wait for this little nudge. Right here, rolls off, goes to the net. The defender knows it's going to be a pick and roll. You can see the hands go up for the man in front of Toll, just nothing he can do about it. You go back about maybe 4 years or so, 8 picks in the OJLL draft for this athletics team. Took Zachary Toll and Ty Wilson in that first round, had 4 first-round picks in a year that 8 different Oshawa-born players were selected throughout the league. Berard brings it down. Part of that Blue Knights program that was dynamite in minor. Rosen takes another shot, thinking he get run over by Berard, trying desperately to get rid of it. Bucktooth knocks his man down. Collision along the half boards as Berard looking back the other way. Boy, oh boy, what a 15-30 we're in store for here. Rawson to Ponting. Around a screen from Laycock. Ponting with it. Laycock survived a hit. Couldn't survive a second one as he was trying to pass, though. Back and back over was Marr. Got drilled in front of the timekeeper's box. Heads up Rod Mahood. Here's Meridian and English one-on-one. It'll go through Paul, now Bucktooth to Kennedy. Just outside the dotted line. Paul to Kennedy again. On the run, a couple fakes from Rosen. He's been stuck on a pair of goals, which he scored way back in the first. Now Bucktooth here for Kennedy. He'll slow it down, pull it back down, shoots on the run. That hit Paul on the rebound. Shot clock resets as Rosen chases it down. Stopped inside center with Adam Ross on his backside. Now it comes back Meridian on the crease. Kennedy, he's in. Blue sneakers for Meridian, bright orange for Kennedy on that exchange. Shots over 40 now for the Athletics at 21 in that middle stanza. Off the bench, Hiltz to the outside. Low shot down to meet it, Wilson. Believe that's Jeremiah Wade in the, let's call them peach, pastel yellow sneakers. Jamison Bucktooth thought he had a lane to the net. That's where he's done damage, when he can pull it down and get to the crease, where he's been unable to do so tonight. Pick and roll, though, especially between the righties, has worked most of the evening for the Athletics, and showing it on there with Arrow Booth. Here's Ross, and he'll bring it down. Shot there, forces split save out of Wilson. Up and out, picks it up on the run, does Peters. Had a man with him in Jared Cook and just missed on the crease. But a well-timed stick check from Rosen pops it free. Has no help. Trying to get away from Ponting, then English. Pushed it back to center where Meridian was waiting. Now Bucktooth. Ever dangerous even with just 1 point. Puts it down to Rosen, all alone on the crease with all kinds of time and space. And a little burst of speed by Bucktooth. Nearly got a second opportunity. In case you forgot, he was lurking there. Outside rip, Evans. Not going to snipe this time, as Wilson was aware of that. Sounded like it hit something on its way through. Toll brings it down at center and runs it out to the far boards. He's spied by Hiltz. The two captains. Now English on Toll. Big pile up in behind the net. Arrow Booth ran through the crease, couldn't play it. That opens it up for Sawyer English. On the run, trying to get past Berard. Shooting this way and that. A slash back at center from Berard is going to be the first power play of the game coming up for the Blaze. Kruger to the bench, Ponting loading up. He'll shoot sidearm, just missed, trying to chase down his own rebound. And will keep it out of St. Catharines' bench. But now there's only 5 to get one on target. And how about in the target from Ted Rawson, his second. So scratch that power play thought. We're back even again, 5-all. And this is just Rawson stepping up. They look 5-hole on Wilson. That's a couple that have bounced through the legs to find the back of the net. Adam Ponting, how about 3 points here in this third period for the setup man? Berard's slashing penalty canceled by the goal. That draws us back even. Stalemate off the draw. Looked like Galante had a tap for West Grant, as if saying good battle, and don't think Grant took it as a compliment. Meridian to Bucktooth. Had Rosen going through the middle. Going to go to the far side. Meridian couldn't grab it. Neither could Bucktooth. It's flipped up and out, and more transition for Fraser. And the Blaze on the crease. He scores again. Lucas Fraser. One shorthanded earlier in the game, and how about the first lead for Burlington? He's going to start down in the defensive end with this play on Bucktooth here. Tipped away from his stick and out and running. Lucas Fraser going to be his second of the game. Dancing all alone on the crease and puts it in. Had a peek for the official just to be safe. But yes, it is in. West Grant picking up the assist. And as we go back to the face-off dot. Last one was a big one. Different combatants this time, though, as Isaiah Paul grabs the face-off twig and got a violation out of Adam Ross. So here's Rosen. Athletics playing from behind for the first time tonight. Saw the same thing the last time we saw this Burlington team. Down big against Oakville and clawed their way all the way back to end up winning by 4. Game you can catch still here on the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel. Another takedown far side. And had the crowd asking for a penalty, not getting one. Nate Watson happy to keep play going. Rawson and Wade on his side. Play comes back to Ponting. He'll look in the direction of Jeremiah Wade. Screen set in front of him, shoots off the end boards. Chasing it down was Mar, and just won a high pass. Misses everything in the high ceiling here at Canada Games Park on the main pad. Picked off the boards by Berard. Ran through the crease. That's Ari Statehouse, who's down floor and touched it after he had run through the crease. So a good play. The ball coming right back Burlington's way. Already with 4 here in this third period. Bouncing ball in front of Ponting. A little swipe of the stick as Cook takes off. Jared Cook trailing in behind Hiltz. Aero Booth will flip it. Back here for Paul. Down into the corner. Rozon. No Bucktooth this time. It'll go to Kennedy. No Meridian either. It's Toll on a backhand. In comes Rozon's shot. There off of Kruger. It bounces in front of Burlington's bench. Isaiah Paul had a bit of trouble with it, but then does bring it down. Far side Meridian with it. Hard shot. Tie up in behind the net. Still arguing over it. Rozon had the ball skip past him. Back on the offensive side, and that allowed Sawyer English to break out with it. Mar, far side, Rawson in and out of his stick. Watson on the run, gets the middle of the pile, shot well being taken down, and Wojnarski just going to sit on him. Watson gets up and puts a two-hander into the shin of the former Beaches defender. Here's Zachary Toll. Cross the Bucktooth down in the corner. Berard back for Kennedy. Kennedy's outside shot. Paul gets shoved into the crease as it was gobbled up by Kruger, who has now made 43 saves here tonight. 2 shots away from 50 are the Athletics with still 8 minutes left to play in regulation time. Hiltz up for Evans. Couple head fakes. Back Ponting's direction. Cross floor. Low shot. Kicked out Wilson. They will get a reset though. As now Wade gets it back through Evans. Jeremiah Wade to his captain Hiltz. Hiltz feeding it through. That bypass Ponting. Evans was tied up. Gives his man a chop. Turning to face him, Levi Roast. Those two have a conversation as the official separates them and they head to their respective benches. Aero Booth. From the outside, looked like he wanted to shoot. Paul, a late arrival, back for Booth again. Bucktooth up top. First clean look, off the crossbar and out. I don't think it was in. Fans here do. At Burlington nearly out in transition. Ted Rawson. Back to Ponting. Ponting drags the toe, and that would have been a 2-goal swing perhaps. Out in transition, Peters has the man to his left, takes it himself, head eyes for the 5-hole. And the stick of Kruger gets there first. Still 6-5 despite some anxious moments at both ends. Playing back here through Marr. Down the boards, Evans. In stride, Wade. Much cleaner save there for Wilson. 3 Athletics breaking out, including Cook, who misplayed it there in the corner. Isaiah Wade, a little bit of a hit check into Reef Steenhouse. Little cutback move, Ponting shot off of Wilson. Argument over this loose ball. Roast is in there. Hard slash on the way out, and again, the officials in the stands want a penalty. The ones on the floor not going to oblige. Here's Kennedy. Back to Rozon. Now to Paul. Kennedy far side. No, looks it to Rozon, who was cutting through. He got shoved out by Fraser. Kennedy to the crease and ran through. That touches him before he could get clear, and it'll go back Burlington's way. Nearing the final 5 minutes of regulation time in this one-goal game, Burlington plays the 8th seed. Just snuck their way into the playoffs on top of St. Catharines Athletics, who led the entire way. Not just in this game, but in the season, took off and never looked back. Meridian for Toll. Isaiah Paul. Up top for Booth. Over for Toll. Paul comes up top, nearly ran into Toll, who could only float it over top of the net. Picked out of the crease here by Meridian. Back Toll's direction. Does skip into Kruger. But now Hiltz. Getting it up floor. Colin Marr. I'm sure Dan McRae would like at least one more just for some breathing space. Evans up top, turns and fires. That hit either Ponting or I believe Galante in the middle. Evans gets taken down. Man, the exchanges at the end of these shifts, there's always been a little something. Whether it be a shove, a chop, not enough to go to the box over here in the playoffs, but it is getting spicy in the trenches tonight. Kennedy, Rose on far side, Toll over the top. Had to elude Bucktooth as he came through. Stick tied up there for Paul, couldn't pick it up. And Bucktooth lost the twig out of his hands. And shot clock sounds as they're still trying to uncoil the pretzel that was Meridian in his defensive mark. Rawson on his toes. Round a hefty screen. Wilson picks it up, had eyes down floor. No one in transition this time as they'll play it to the far boards. Closing in on 3 minutes left to go in regulation time. Booth. Him and Rozon cross the restraining line together. Here's Bucktooth. Little high step as he came back in that direction. Kennedy. Bucktooth lost his defender, Joyce, and then a shot from Kennedy came through. Hard, aggressive defense played there. Aiden Carr went right back after Rozon. Took a couple chops for his efforts, but the Athletics will get the ball back, and you hear the sticks to our left again. Kennedy for Booth. Fresh 30 seconds. Played back here for Rozon. Keep your eye on Bucktooth setting the screen. He's tied up. One more time, Rozon shoots it into Kruger. 2 saves away from 50 here on the evening. Blaze lead by 1, 6-5. 53-40 shots favoring the Athletics as we near the 2-minute warning. Stone Evans at the line. Played through Marr. Rawson. He'll pull it down, looking for Watson on the crease. Miscue there. Ari Stainhouse out in transition. Going to be one-on-one between him and Nathan Jones, and Stainhouse pulls the shoots. Thought for a sec he might stay, and he is going to stay and play. Meridian, a little give and go in towards the crease. Picked up here in the corner. Paul bringing it out, only 10 to get it back to the net. Got knocked down in front of the crease. It'll roll back into the stick of Kruger. Still has Paul in front of his crease. Gives it away. Was looking down floor, and Meridian, the clean interception. Paul, hard bounce pass for Jamison Bucktooth. Isaiah Paul now through Rozon. 20 seconds left. Wilson remains in the net off to our left. In the corner, Toll spins back. Crashed into pressure, though. It's the two captains again, Toll and Hiltz. This is pulled out of the corner. Picked up here by Burlington. Adam Ross got double teamed, but not before he pushed it over top of that pile and got it back to West Grant Cross Center. Here's Rawson, long way from the attacking zone, inside the final minute of play. Rawson matched there by Peters as it comes all the way back up top. Wade can just dump it into the corner, take the safe route. Ponting may still win this. Got bounced around by a few Athletics defenders and taking no chances. Dan Coates says now's the time for timeout number 2. And perhaps the last shot play. Wilson will come to the bench. What action here, back and forth in the period. This is the one that the fans thought, I think, went in off the shoulder, off the line. We need the virtual VAR to go check that line there, but I don't think that was in. In the back of this meeting here, you see Adam Kruger has been the story of the game. Six Nations, by the way, up 6-7-5 on Orangeville. 11-9. Oakville has led the entire way over Kitchener, but the Kodiaks clawing back. And 11-8 Whitby changing in real time. Look at us go. 11-10. Oakville. We'll check in on that series tomorrow night. 8 o'clock start time. Right here on the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel. Be sure you're subscribed. If you like this video, leave a comment, share it around. The algorithm is more apt to share videos like this with you and your friends. Rosen working around the six-man set. Outside, Bucktooth. Haven't heard from him all night. He'll shovel it back to the crease. Picked back out. Kruger recovers, comes over, makes the save again. Oh my goodness, Adam Kruger. Burlington still need to get this to center though. Wilson is back in the net to our left. Hiltz crosses the line. Basically a 2-on-1 back defensively. Rawson trying to play keep away. Him and Ponting. Far side. Pulled back out. Sticks out now on the side to our right. The visiting fans who have made the trip down the QEW are standing and saluting the 8-seeded Burlington Blaze, who shocked the Athletics here with a 6-5 win in game number 1. What a third period from the Blaze, who scored twice in the opening minutes. Stone Evans, Jeremiah Wade. And then 2 within 32 seconds later on. Ted Rawson, Lucas Fraser, who ends with 2 in this game. And here's how it broke down in the opening minute here of the period. Pardon me, that's the shot from Ted Rawson, the last 2 goals. That ties it up 5-5. And then Lucas Fraser. Keep your eye on this kid. Fraser is a graduating player coming out this year. Pair of transition goals the other night when we did them in Oakville, and a big celebration to boot. He'll get the game winner. Blaze 6 goals off 43 shots. They had 4 off 13 here in the third period. And 1 off 17 down the stretch. Adam Kruger on a Junior B card makes 50 saves in his Junior A playoff debut to give the Blaze a 6-5 lead here in game number 1. Game 2 goes Tuesday night in Burlington. An 8 o'clock start time. We will be at the track in Oakville tomorrow for game number 2 between Oakville and Kitchener. A reminder to head to OntarioJuniorLacrosse.com for the entire playoff scenarios and matchups, schedules, standing stats, and scores. And subscribe here to the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel. Our producer was Gary Morrison. Our director tonight was Rachel Wolf. For them, the JVI Sports Network and the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League. My name is Matthew Carrick. Have a great Sunday night, folks, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.